My name is Elizabeth Wiley. I am from Raleigh, North Carolina. My major is political science, and I have two minors, one in PPE, which is philosophy, politics, and economics, and then the other is business administration. And after college, I am going to Charlottesville, Virginia to do the Trinity Fellows program.
Tell me how you came to meet your best friends once you got to college.
So I got to college. So something about me is that I came into college thinking that I needed to be the one who put together my friends or maybe curated the situations in which I would meet my friends. So I kind of had a picture of, the first couple weeks of college and the ways in which I would meet my friends. And what I quickly learned was that, one, it was going to take more time than I initially thought. But also, the Lord just surprised me with the ways in which I met people. So often it was not me putting myself in the perfect situation or being in the perfect place or having the perfect thing to say, but rather having a class that I just happened to have with a friend or randomly walking home at the same time from lunch. I think I made a lot of friendships in very unlikely scenarios, which I think shows more the hand of God versus my own ability to put those things together. And I often say that I found friends in many more pockets of college than I ever expected. I think I kind of imagined my friends to all kind of stem from the same area. I came from a small high school, so I kind of had always had the same 8 or 9 friends who I kind of stuck around. And so I was really surprised, but in the best way, that in college there's so many places to meet friends and that could just build on each other. Versus it being like, oh, I need to find it in this one place. But I feel like the Lord just expanded my vision of friendship a lot. But I would say so my 3 housemates now, Margaret Batchelder, Lauren Stoika, and Ava Tuttle. Ava, I met at Way Camp. We ate dinner together at the cookout. But it really wasn't until we went to Nicaragua our freshman year that we became extremely tight. Margaret and I went to St. David's together, and so we have been friends for a very, very long time. And Lauren, I actually met at Carolina Conversations from the Study Center. So shout out to the Study Center for introducing me to pretty much all my roommates except for Margaret. Lauren was at Carolina Conversations in Raleigh, and so me, Margaret, and her went and got lunch afterwards. And then our freshman year, a couple weeks in, housing goes so quickly. Lauren came up to Margaret and I and asked if we wanted to live with her our sophomore year. And so that was the beginning of a really sweet friendship there.
So awesome. What has been a surprising opportunity that's come up on campus, off campus?
Anywhere.
Something that sticks out during your time here?
My freshman year, my roommate Lily Stevens was involved with the hospitality team here, and she knew that I could make banners and do fun things like that. And so one day Joy Purvis came up to me and was like, hey, we need a banner for this hospitality event. Can you make us one? I was like, sure. And I think Joy felt bad, so she added me to the hospitality group chat. And then very quickly I realized how much I enjoyed being a part of it. Sophomore year on started to be with Joseph Sharp, the head of hospitality here. And it's something that I didn't come in freshman year being like, oh, I really want to do hospitality at the study center. But if it hadn't have been for Joy coming up to me that one day and being like, hey, can you make us this banner? So that was a leadership position that I got to have for a couple years in college that was very unexpected. And just taught me a love of hospitality that I might not have otherwise maybe tapped into. So that'd be a surprising moment.
What's been one memory from that really sticks out?
One of my favorite memories would be, well, I'll say two. One was, it was Joseph's idea, but we did a pop-up coffee shop for the first time, and we like closed off the kitchen and got bakery sleeves and fun cups, and just got to like serve people as they came in. And it's been a lifelong dream of mine to be a barista. And so just getting to like make food and serve people as they came in was like, even though it was such a small thing, was one of my favorite hospitality events. Another would be this year for our Christmas party. A group of about 6 of us stayed up all night and decorated the study center overnight. And so it was like everyone left, the interns left, and then they came back the next morning and it was like decked out for Christmas, which was just so fun. We kind of based it off of Elf because we thought that that would, correlate. And that was just a really sweet memory of like, why am I up at 4 a.m. decorating this place so it feels special to other people? But I think that was like a silly memory that I'll hold for a long time. So.
Yeah, I love that. That was the best. Let's see. I'm just going to read this real quick.
Yeah.
Actually. What, with no shortage of Christian community, churches, and opportunities, what advice would you give your younger self on how to choose where you truly invest, / like maybe where you ended up?
Yeah, that's a great question. And something I've talked to actually a lot of like girls this year. I think it can be very overwhelming when you first show up because it feels like you have to immediately figure out all of those spaces. I remember being so overwhelmed by the like the first 10 days that I don't think I knew I wanted to be involved at the study center because my brother was, who had come before me, but I think I was very overwhelmed by like the different options of ministries. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna start with the study center and I'm gonna join their fellows program and I am gonna just like start there. And so the first like couple of things I committed to were study center related. I joined one of their small groups. And then this was also during the time that I like started to go around and try different churches. Being a freshman, I was reliant on rides. And so sometimes that looked like asking an older girl, and like maybe the church that I went to that weekend was dependent on who I could get a ride from. But it honestly took a little bit for it to shift out. I later in college, or not later my freshman year, got my roommate, Lily Stevens. She was very involved with Young Life, and I in high school was involved in this other ministry called Focus. And so I came into college not really thinking I would do anything with college life, but Lily was so involved that she started to invite me to things. And randomly, it was probably December, I was like, sure, I'll go to this watch party with you. And I ended up just meeting so many great people there, joined a Young Life small group, ended up going to College Life Club every Thursday, and went and served on crew or like work crew for like Windy Gap weekend. And so I think that some of the things I got more involved with, it didn't happen like my first week of college. It took a minute for me to settle into different spaces, meet different friends. But again, some of those opportunities to where I like really decided to invest came a little bit later, because I think it takes a second. I also think it's okay for that to ebb and flow. Like I think there are some ministries that when I first started my freshman year, I was more involved with, but then once I figured out where I was going to church, I started to get more involved there. And so it takes a minute, and I think that there's a lot of grace for that. But like you were saying, there's a surplus of opportunities. And so I would say don't shy away from them. Like don't let it overwhelm you to the sense that you don't pursue anything. But at the same time, there's a lot of flexibility and a lot of time to be able to kind of figure out where you want to spend most of your time. But then it's like once you do find some of those spaces that you are really excited about, I definitely have experienced the fruit of going all in those places. So I would say that if there is something you're really excited about, then go for it and go all in. But again, there's also just a lot of grace for figuring out where those spaces are. And it's okay when you figure out about something your, freshman spring instead of your freshman fall, or if you end up getting involved with something later on. You don't have to figure it out in your first couple weeks of school, but definitely go try some things out. And yeah, I have been tremendously blessed by the opportunities that are here. So.
Good word. Can you tell me kind of about your church experience?
Yeah. I started out, like I said, going to church with different girls, dependent on rides or whatever. Probably tried majority of the churches in the area, which I'm thankful that there are a lot of, just like being at the study center, there's a lot of churches that are represented here, which I think is really awesome. I went to Christ Central for my first 2 years of college. Lily went with me, really enjoyed it. I think a hard part of Christ Central was that it was 30 minutes away. And so I struggled, especially when I didn't have my car, to be involved more than just a Sunday morning, which I think it's also hard when college is a unique time because you also have a surplus of ministry options. And so it's like during your week, it's not solely church filling that time, but you're kind of balancing all of it. But come the end of my sophomore year, I was like, okay, I feel like I'm really established in some of the ministry small group areas or like opportunities. And so then I was like, something though that I really value that I don't think I've poured into as much as I've wanted to is church. Knowing that post-grad church is going to be like the center or like heartbeat of, where I meet most people and what I'm involved in. And so I was like, I really want to start investing more in a church community. Also just knowing how much, like Christ values, it's the bride. And so I think, I was like, okay, how do I figure out how to get more invested in church? And so I started going to Risen Christ, my beginning of junior year. And it was 5 minutes away from me. And so was able to join a small group. And I think it was the first time that church became cyclical for me versus just like being a recipient. I was like, it was the first time I experienced taking food to a new mother, or watching kids because our pastor needed help, or getting to go to different book studies and small groups. And I think that being a member at Risen Christ has given me the opportunity to pour into the church community while also reaping the fruit of it, which I think has given me a really beautiful picture of like something I don't want to ever like forfeit now, in the sense of feeling like you're part of a family and like a community. I think both where you receive and you're able to give is something that maybe I didn't experience fully until I came to college, and is something that now I'm like, I hope is present through the rest of my life. So. Sorry, these are like, I feel like I say like so much.
Huh?
You can just cut those out.
It's fine.
It'll be like bleep, bleep.
So I think with that, like obviously like you recognize it when you're saying it, but I think it's also such a, it's part of how we feel.
Yeah.
Conversations, so it probably doesn't
Yeah.
So, what are some faith habits or just normal habits that you've kind of gotten into your routine?
Faith habits? I thought you said fake for a second, and I was like, I don't even know what that means. Faith habits.
Faith habits and like normal routine habits, like just things that have made college life feel just like practical things that you do.
Mm-hmm. Is that like including like ministry stuff that I do, or like more just like by myself?
Day by day.
Day by day.
Yes.
Okay. I can just walk you through a week, maybe.
Yeah.
So some different things. I'm someone who I thrive with a certain amount of schedule. Like I can't be too open-ended or I start to go a little crazy. And so I'll tell you about this year. It's kind of ebbed and flow every year, depending on like what small groups I'm in or what I'm doing. But I Monday nights intern at the study center, and which I'm just gonna go through like my schedule, and then I'll come back and do like the little moment things maybe. yeah, Monday nights, intern at the Study Center. Tuesday nights is Katie Bible study. Tuesday nights also used to be home group for me, which was so great and like such a fun mix of like older individuals and younger, which is just like a really sweet part of college. On Wednesdays, we had senior ambassador dinners, which met, not every week, but it's a program that the Study Center has here that kind of equips seniors to be able to, one, lead younger classmen, but also they pour into us. So we talked about generosity, and we talked about, we like would share testimonies while we were there, so just got to like know those in our class better, and just like thinking about post-grad. I've also done Lydia Group, which is a all-female small group that Anna Hunter runs, where we talk about all things life post-grad. There's mentors who also, so it's like a group of college students, a group of mentors, and we all got set up together in the beginning of the year. So that's been a really, really sweet part of senior year. And then trying to think, those are probably some of the like big main commitments. I lead for Focus, which I said I did in high school. So I go to Cary Academy every Thursday morning and lead a small group there of middle and high schoolers, which has been really sweet to still have that connection to home. And then, yeah, intern other days at the Study Center. But more like, I feel like this is more of what the question was asking, like personal moments. I would say one of my favorite things throughout college has been, one, prayer journaling. I think that it's so sweet to look back on like my freshman year journal and just seeing the ways in which the Lord has been faithful, because I think we're very quick to forget. Where I was actually looking through it the other day, and it's like you don't realize how many answered prayers you're walking in until you like remember that you initially asked for them. And so I would say that a lot of just those like sweet moments of slowing down, of like, yeah, praying, journaling, spending time in the Word. Also, like with my house, I would say some of the sweetest moments, or maybe even like the most real moments of college, have come from when we've either been celebrating really big things or when we've been going through really, really hard things. Like this year, there have been moments where we've been in the kitchen and someone's crying about something, and like we've gone to pray for each other. And I think that those have been the moments where I'm like, this feels so tangibly real to me, because it's not just like about me. It's not about like, it just feels like there's something so much greater than you. And I think I've experienced that the most in moments of like celebration and in sadness within my house. So yeah, I don't know if that's.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Beautiful. I'll just ask if you wanted to.
Yeah. I have to be here till 6. So.
Okay. What? Let's see. What? I was gonna say what has been like your favorite maybe this year, like specifically in this house?
Oh, that's such a good question. Living in a house is like the biggest gift ever. Like I said, I love hospitality. So like having a place where you can actually host people, compared to the year before we lived in this tiny apartment and you could probably fit like 7 people in the living room. And so to then have a house where you can host so many people, I would say 2 examples come to mind. One, in the fall, we did a girls' dinner that was probably like 18 of us, and it was like everyone bring an appetizer. Allie Riker cooked for us, and it was like the first time we had ever hosted a dinner at our house, and people were having to bring chairs from their houses to like shove them together to try and fit all 18 people around our kitchen table. And it's like we did it, and I just remember looking around and being like, the fact that we're all getting to eat and laugh, and I think we all lingered there for like 5 hours, just talking and reminiscing. And then at the end, we all went around and talked about prayer requests for the year, and how we could be praying for one another. And it was just one of those moments where, one, I think freshman year, it can be really difficult when you don't know quite what friendships look like in the future. But it was like this really sweet senior year moment where I was like, I'm just getting to reap like every bit of fruit that the Lord's been growing over the past couple years. So it was just really sweet to be like sitting in such almost an established place, which is so different than the like scramble of the beginning of freshman year, where I was like, wow, the Lord's been so faithful to bring all these people into my life. Another really fun moment was we hosted a Christmas party where we were like, let's just invite everyone that we know. And I mean, I don't even know how many people came through that night, but it was just so fun to be able to laugh and sing and just like be silly and eat. And I think that having our house so full has just been a really sweet picture of like the hospitality that the Lord shows us, initially bringing us in. We also have this, you didn't ask for this, but we have a Polaroid wall of every single person who's come into our house this year. And it looked really silly the first week of college because we had like 2 photos on it and it was this whole blank wall. But we've like been denying taking it down because now it has like over 50 photos on it, just of like different groups that have come into our house throughout the year. We were saying that that's gonna be like the last thing we take down when we move out, but it's just been so sweet to like even look on that and see all the younger girls that we got to walk with and see all of our friends who came over on snow days and getting to see our family on there and getting to see just like friends that we met through church. And we have like our pastor's kids on there and Warren, who I babysit, Madison Perry's kid. Like it's just fun to see like the mix of people who have come through our house. So yeah, I think that's really sweet.
I was gonna ask you like, what do you like? Tell me more about
Trinity.
Fellows.
Yes.
And, anything else you want?
Okay, perfect. Trinity Fellows, my junior year of college, I started to really think about what I wanted to do post-grad. And I feel like I've always been someone who has lots of dreams. And I was like, so how do I actually choose what to do? And after talking to a handful of people who know me really well, fellows just like kept coming up. And so I actually remember like sitting on the study center lawn with Madison Perry and him telling me about his experience with fellows and him really encouraging me to do it. And that was just like reciprocated by my friends and other family members. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna start calling them. And so over summer, called a handful of the directors. And when I got on the call with Dennis, who's the director for Charlottesville, it was just like everything he was saying, I felt like I was a sponge soaking it up and being like, wow, I would just love to learn from him. And so I went to go visit in September and got to go to Trinity, which is the church that it's connected to, got to meet the current fellows and just was so excited. And it met all of my expectations when I went to go visit. The program itself, for anyone who doesn't know, is like, you're in a cohort of 12 to 14 just graduated college students, and it's half girls, half guys, and you all work part-time. So I'll be working at UVA's Darden Business School, and so you work part-time, but then the rest of your week is filled with one day you have seminary classes, and then another day you have this thing called roundtable where you all discuss over dinner. You live with a host family, so there's host family nights, and you all go to the church's young adult ministry called The Hub, and we help tutor in the community. And so our week's pretty scheduled out for us, but the whole idea of Fellows is that you spend the year both working and being really involved in a church community with the hope of kind of giving you a picture of what that can look like after. So I hope that all that I learn next year in Fellows is something that continues many years afterwards, even when I do go into like full-time work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really excited about it.
That's cool to hear like an actual explanation of it.
Yeah, it's so confusing. And I say something different every time when people ask me what it is.
Yeah.
My favorite question. What characteristic of God have you seen the most or learned the most about in your time in college?
Oh, wow. That's a really, really good question. I feel like it's so different in like different seasons, maybe. I would say this is going to be not the answer you're probably looking for, but I'll give it anyways, of like, someone had described in high school, I remember being at Focus internship, of God's like a diamond, and like if you put like turn in different directions, then like different lights and like fullness comes. And I would say that college has produced many different experiences that have allowed me to see God in very different ways. If that's in like the really, really hard moments of like true tears and like feeling like I have nowhere to turn but to be dependent on the Lord, to the like sweetest moments of community and feeling hospitality from others, or just like getting to see how the Lord intertwined my life with others, but also like the opportunities there are, but also like the quietness of like the fact that the Lord's been there the whole time through all of those experiences. But I would say that I've just like met so many people and been able to like experience even just like talks at the study center or whatever it is. I feel like I've gotten to see a fuller picture of God than I had before. And that's something though that like I think will continue for the rest of my life, knowing that like it's endless and boundless. But I think that it's been already cool to see the Lord break out of the box that I had for him. And now it's like, well, okay, if you broke out of that box, you're probably just going to keep doing that. And so I think that's been really sweet, so maybe a word would be boundless. I think God has exceeded my expectations of who he is, and has met me even when I like wanted to put him in a box. And I think will continue to just awe me in the ways in which he's boundless. So maybe that's my word. I don't know. Trying to think.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, he did ask me about, I was saying, which I can tell you again, of like, honestly, I think my like favorite moments of this year, like a verse I've thought a lot about is like, weep with those who weep and rejoice with those who rejoice. And I think our house is a really cool picture of that, because when you live with 4 girls, you're gonna have moments of weeping and you're gonna have moments of rejoicing. And I was telling Connor that like the most real moments of this year have been when like we're in our kitchen and someone is like sobbing and we're like praying over them, or in the moments where we are like jumping up and down, getting to rejoice, and like something that's happened. And I think it's made friendship, like being in the same space as people all the time, like you just can't put like a face on all the time. And so I think it's given me a really real picture of friendship. But that's like so sweet, because when you are in those moments of like weeping or rejoicing, I don't know how to put it in the right words, of like it feels similar to the way in which the Lord knows us fully and like still chooses to love us. And I think that like with our house, it's like you're gonna have to fully know me because you live with me all the time, but then to like receive love and be like, wow, like you guys are still choosing to love me even when you've seen me at my worst and at my best. I think that there's something that like feels so full about that, which has been really sweet to experience. Anything else? I'm trying to think if there's anything we didn't really cover.
No idea.
We talked about my house, we talked about hospitality team, we talked about church,
Focus, Trinity Fellows.
Trinity Fellows.
Katie,
Oh yeah.
shout out.
It's funny because I'm like, how are y'all gonna edit this so that it sounds good? I think that Katie has been a really, really sweet opportunity, because I think it took me, freshman year I came in and was like, all my friends are going to come from my sorority. I think I knew that I'd be involved or wanted to be involved at the study center, but I think I expected a lot of my friend group to stem from Katie. And what's been really sweet, one, the Lord like shifted my expectations of what friendship could look like in college, and it was like so much fuller of a picture than what I had first imagined. So it's like, wait, I do have friends in Katie, but I also have friends from the study center and from church and from my class. Like there's just so many more places in which friendships have bloomed. But I think that staying true to my faith in Katie over the years has like reaped much more fruit than I ever expected. I think it can be really hard if you're in Greek life your freshman year especially, because it feels like people are bonding over things that like you might not want to partake in or like might not be who you want to be. And I think that at first that was very difficult and it was easy to feel on the outside. But senior year has been by far my favorite year being in a sorority because like just over the years having so much quality time with people, like those friendships were built. It maybe just took a little more time than I had first expected. And it's been really sweet because I can't even tell you how many times this year I've had girls ask to go on walks with me or who have talked about the study center to me, or like because I've kind of stayed true to who I am and like what I want to be involved in and what I want to do. It's actually been really, really sweet this year to see that like that didn't necessarily like hinder the friendships I was able to make in Katie. And if anything, it gave me a really cool platform to like be able to share that with others. I have been able to lead Katie Bible study the past 3 years, and that's been like one of the sweetest parts of college. And I've had girls text me this year being like, hey, I'm really struggling with this. Can you go on a walk with me to talk about it? And I'm like, you thought to text me? Like, why would you think to text me? Like, it's just been so sweet because I think often when you're older, it's easy to not think that younger people are looking. But what I've experienced this year is like, wait, actually the way that you treat people and how you live your life does influence those who are younger than you. And so Katie Bible Study has been an especially sweet way to get to love on girls. We've done like beach weekends at my house in Beaufort, and we've had girls to our house on Camp Corner, and just getting to like be the person to bring them in and encourage them in their faith. I know I had older girls who did that for me when I was younger in Katie, and so it's just really cool to be like, wait, actually this is something that I can like share with them and encourage them in. And I think that is like a platform that I never would have been able to have if it wasn't for like joining a sorority my first semester of college. And so I'm really, really thankful for Katie and the friendships that have come from it. And like the opportunity it's been for me to love on people out of like an outpouring of the community that I've been able to experience versus it being like a dependency of like, I need these people to want me to be in the circle or in, but rather I feel like I've just been able to love them out of like an abundance of community that I found, which is sweet because I think that is like something that also attracts people who are seeking. So yeah, that's what I'd say.